What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. So first of all, I'd like to thank everyone for getting me to 200,000 subscribers. It's an insane milestone, especially considering we were just at 100,000 a year ago. I'll be honest, I'm recording this way before this video is actually being uploaded, so by now there's probably way more than 200,000, which is awesome. But regardless, the message still stands. So this is going to be kind of different. A lot of people have requested that I continue series into GT, and I wasn't too sure about it since it didn't seem like there was too much interest. I've noticed a lot of you prefer stories with Super rather than GT. So today I'm going to test it out with a pretty popular series that I think would work well with this. Although I am going to have to briefly cover some events of Super. After all this time, What If Bardock and Guinea Survived has returned, and we'll be going into GT with it. For this video, let's set a like goal of 3,500 likes. If we hit that, I'll continue the series and maybe do more GT series in the future. Anyways, let's pick up from here. So I'm not going to be doing any recap in this video, and I'm just going to assume you're going into this by having already watched it. I will link the full series above, which has every single part so far in it. I'll give you a second to watch that, even though it takes a while. Ready? Good? Okay, cool. I also did kind of lie, this isn't purely going to be GT, we're also going to have to cover a bit of Dragon Ball Super first, specifically the Granola arc. So the first half or so of this video will be dedicated to that, and the last half will be dedicated to GT. And in this series, it's pretty important that we cover the Granola arc. It should be pretty obvious why. So the arc itself is going to start very differently, since the Moro arc also went different. But there still would be some similarities. Obviously, Granola still wants to get revenge against the Saiyans, and at some point, he would make his wish to do so. Of course, with no Frieza there, he's not incredibly concerned about all this right now. But at some point, the Heaters would probably put him up to this, and he'd find out that the Saiyans still do exist, at least some of them. He gathers the 2 Dragon Balls on his planet, making the wish. His power increases dramatically, although his lifespan is cut short. The Heaters are doing all this so they can get the Dragon Balls. They show Granola the location of the Saiyans, and without him on the planet, they won't need to worry about getting the Dragon Balls. Although, there's an issue that comes up in their plan. When Granola eventually does leave for Earth, Monaido is pretty concerned about him, so he goes along with Granola, also bringing the Dragon Balls along with him, just to make sure they don't get in the wrong hands. Everything about this seems pretty fishy, and he was pretty right to do so, because now the Heaters have to follow everyone to Earth. Of course, they do need to keep a low profile. They don't want Granola or Monaido getting suspicious. But at least this will lead them to the Dragon Balls, at least the ones that Monaido has. Things on Earth are pretty low-key right now. And forgive me if I'm kind of breezing through this arc, but I am trying to get to GT as quick as possible. But everyone notices an odd presence approaching Earth. They can't really tell what it is. It seems strong, but also unfamiliar, and not like it's malicious either, but also not necessarily good. As Granola gets closer to the planet, Oatmeal assists him in locating the Saiyans. They're not exactly sure what to look for, so they search for different power levels. Obviously all Saiyans have their keys suppressed right now, so Granola has to wait a bit until one of them starts training. And eventually, he catches 2 powers surging. Immediately he pursues these powers. He's not sure if they're even the Saiyans, but judging by how strong they are, it could be. He arrives and finds 2 people training. A short Saiyan with spiky hair, and one with really long hair. It's Raditz and Vegeta. He can immediately tell that these 2 are Saiyans, and he wastes no time. Amidst their training, Vegeta suddenly gets hit in the back with an attack. He raises his ki just in time to protect against it. Had he not done this, it would have probably killed him. But this does briefly stun him for a bit. Raditz immediately powers up, going on the defensive. And he narrowly avoids a sniper attack from Granola. He lends some ki to Vegeta, helping him get up. And they have no clue what's going on. They ask who this guy is, and a short conversation commences. Monaido's following close behind in his own ship, and he can already tell something bad's happening. He knew this wouldn't turn out well. Granola's trying to get revenge. He needs to stop this before it's too late. He needs to know the truth about the Saiyans, or at least that one that helped him before. Raditz and Vegeta immediately begin fighting Granola, and of course people would sense this fight going on. Others begin teleporting in. First Goku comes in, then Ruda. And then finally, Bardock teleports in. With all these Saiyans fighting Granola right now, it's actually easy to hold him off. But once Bardock comes in, he tells everyone to stop fighting. He can't believe his eyes. Granola asks what the meaning of this is, and Bardock's completely confused too. Does Granola not remember anything? That might make sense actually. He didn't really get to see Bardock's face too much. But then another person comes into the area, Monaido. He's glad to see that the fight's already stopped, and he could tell exactly why. Of course, he would remember Bardock, and Bardock recognizes him too. Granola's confused. What's going on here? And Monaido begins explaining. He and Bardock begin telling the story about how Granola was saved. And he can't believe what he's hearing, especially because the one that actually saved him is right here. Obviously, Bardock doesn't expect him to stop right away from hearing this. But he tells Granola they mean no harm. The Saiyans are peaceful now, at least the ones that are alive still. And Monaido confirms this. He remembers Bardock from before. And besides Vegeta, all the people that he is fighting just now are his kids. It does explain why they're on this planet too. This planet, Earth, it actually seems like a pretty peaceful place. But then Bardock asks, how did he even find them? Did someone put him up to this or something? Bardock's trying to think, who would even want this to happen? I mean, it's weird that now of all times they come here. Was he tricked by someone? He's trying to think, who would possibly have a grudge against the Saiyans? Or at least, a grudge against him. He's trying to think of any loose ends that haven't been tied. But then, he senses multiple energies approaching, and he remembers all from before. Just from the amount of people that he's sensing, and the fact that Granola is involved in this, he simply asks, do the heaters have something to do with this? Granola has no answer at all. He's just so confused right now and caught off guard by all this info. And even though he still is angered right now, reluctantly he nods. So, that must be them approaching. He knows that they're troublemakers, so he's gonna make this quick. Bardock powers up, immediately going into Ultra Instinct. By now, he's actually been able to tap into this at will. He's not even sure if he'll need this, but he'd rather be safe than sorry. He just wants to enjoy some peacetime. He places 2 fingers on his forehead and briefly departs. On the Heater's spaceship, someone suddenly boards it. It's Bardock. And just as quickly as he boards the ship, he starts taking out as many of the Heaters as possible. Alec watches on as the rest of his crew is killed. A sneak attack. He wasn't expecting this. How did this Saiyan find them? And he recognizes Bardock's face. That's the one from before. That one Saiyan they came into contact with a while ago. But as I mentioned, Bardock wants to waste no time here. He knows these people could be tricky and he doesn't want them around any longer. Alec can't even process his thoughts because soon enough, Bardock kills him. For all he knows, the Heaters could have gotten a lot stronger since then and he didn't want to risk fighting them. Attacking them while they're off guard is pretty easy. And since they were coming to Earth, he knew there was definitely something bad happening. He doesn't know what, but he won't even question it. As long as they're dead, his conscience feels fine for now. He destroys the ship mid-flight and then teleports back to where he was. He powers back down into base and tells everyone else they could stand off guard too. Of course, Granola's still not really trusting of everyone here, but he trusts Monito in his word, and apparently Bardock even remembers him too. He begins explaining the entire situation of what happened, and from what Bardock's hearing, it just seemed like the Heaters were trying to trick him for something. Maybe they wanted him off planet, maybe they were scared of the Saiyans, or maybe they were scared of Granola. Whatever the case, he's at least glad this is partially cleaned up, but Granola is still not really sure. But thankfully he has cooled down. He's very conflicted right now, and he just ends up returning back to his planet. That was a really weird encounter. Maybe they'll see that guy again. Who knows? Bardock can't believe that he forgot about the Heaters. It's almost like they didn't exist before this video was made. So now we enter a massive time skip. This is way further into the future up until when GT actually starts. And obviously there's going to be some pretty major changes. The reason I wanted to cover the Granola arc is because I'm actually going to bring him into the story here. After a few years he would have died, but I mean he has the Dragon Balls, he could just probably reverse that effect, even if it does mean he loses his power with it. And over that time skip, he eventually does end up visiting the Saiyans again because he is interested in Bardock, and he occasionally goes back and forth from his planet and Earth. But thankfully, everyone on Earth lives a pretty peaceful life in this time. In case it wasn't obvious enough, I'm continuing into GT with the events of Super happening still. So this is in the same continuity as everything else. It's just after the GT time skip. By this time, Bardock is already getting older, as is Guinea. The rapid aging for both of them is starting to set in. But it isn't that bad at the moment. Of course, everyone's been training over this time skip. A little on and off, but most of them have been consistent with it. And it's kind of a shame. Bardock has all this power, but since he is getting older, soon enough his power won't really be too useful. He's going to live a more peaceful life from now on. Bardock isn't that concerned. He lives a good life and is glad that they ended up here. As much as he likes fighting, he doesn't want to do it his whole life, especially with how hard it's going to be in a few more years. At first, this aging isn't noticeable, but he starts getting slower with his movements. It's not as easy to fight as it was before. His hair's even starting to gray. But at least his kids still have a lot of time ahead of them. Speaking of them, all 3 of them are training on the lookout right now. There is no Oob here, so Goku doesn't have him as a student. But he still does have a ton of people to train with. Besides his own children and his siblings, he even has a niece and a granddaughter, both of which are part Saiyans, and don't worry, they're going to be in the next few parts. I'll be completely honest, I didn't forget about Jade, I just don't have art for her yet. And as for Pan, she will come in later. Most of Goku's time is spent training with his siblings though. Although amidst this training, there's a really weird occurrence. The Pilaf gang of all people comes up on the lookout, and they make a wish. Well, it's not really something they intended, it's accidental. And this wish ends up turning Goku into a kid. Thankfully, it doesn't affect the other 2. The way they phrased it made it so that only Goku turned into a kid. It's not like they really knew Raditz and Ruda either before when they were kids. But still, this is a big issue. Goku is a kid now for some reason. Obviously Ruda and Raditz are freaking out, but Goku doesn't really care. I mean, this isn't really that bad. They tell him this isn't something that he should just brush off, but he says it's still fine. After some time though, someone gets in contact with Goku, a familiar friend of his. It's Piccolo. Piccolo is still with the Kais, and most of his time is actually spent on that planet now. And that's exactly why he's contacting Goku. When he hears about the Black Star Dragon Balls being used, yeah, this is kind of a big issue. Once he heard about this whole wish, he did some research into them because they weren't made with regular Dragon Balls. And it turns out these Dragon Balls need to be brought back to Earth or else this planet's gonna be gone. Yeah, it's a pretty big issue. Piccolo would love to help since he can Kai and teleport everywhere, but from what all the other Kais around him tell him, he shouldn't be that involved in the affairs of mortals. But giving them this info isn't that big of a deal. He can't offer help and say where the Black Star Dragon Balls are, but they need to let the mortals handle some stuff on their own. It's weird since Piccolo is technically a god now. He's become a lot more separated from Earth, but it's not like he doesn't contact his friends every now and then. This is just a very odd path that he went down compared to where everyone else is. Thankfully, they can still get out into space. This is where Bulma comes in. She'll be able to make a ship and help everyone. But Piccolo did warn Goku and everyone, this might be a bit dangerous, so don't just go alone. Goku's actually going to have a crew for his grand tour. So who's going to end up going along with him? I think Goten and Trunks are going to be an obvious pick still. I'm sure he'd check with Raditz and Ruda too, and I'd say Ruda would go along with him. And just with those four, that should be enough. He doesn't really need to ask anyone else. The rest of his family and Ruda's family stays here. And like I said, I'm bringing in Pan later. She's not actually going to be here. With Ruda on the ship, she makes sure that everything goes okay. So nothing weird happens with the departure, and this crew actually stays. So Goten actually does join along, not being left behind. This should be an interesting trip. I mean, it's kind of a weird crew, and Goku's also a kid, and they're going to a bunch of unknown planets to get Dragon Balls. But hey, they're not too worried about any danger. This whole group is pretty strong collectively. And now, the hunt for the Black Star Dragon Balls can begin. Although, since we are kind of strapped for time, I'm gonna kind of skim over this a bit. We have way more important stuff to cover later on, and also I did spend a lot of time in this part covering the parts of Super. Again, this is my first time doing a GT What If, so I feel that skipping this Dragon Ball hunt might be more ideal. It'll give a lot more time for the more important stuff later on. And obviously one of the first things I'm referring to is Baby. Eventually they do get to Planet M2. Everything goes pretty okay up until then, but this planet is kind of freaking everyone out. They fought a bunch of robots together, although things are going a bit different. Remember, this is after Super, so everyone in this scenario is incredibly strong. Planet M2 is no issue, at least until Baby appears. The other robots are no big deal, but since Baby's power is dependent on the person he takes control of, yeah, this might actually be a bit of an issue. But he only has one shot at this. Once Baby's actually revealed, he has one shot at trying to infect someone. He saw how quickly the rest of the villains were dismantled. These people are powerful and he needs to be wise about it. And at first, he actually is able to take control of someone pretty strong right now. The person he gets control of is Ruda, who's actually the strongest in the group here. With Goku as a kid, that did make him a bit weaker, and Ruda was always around his level, so now she's the strongest in this group here. But this is also an issue for Baby. She's able to separate herself from Baby. They're just about ready to kill him, but he ends up escaping, being able to covertly get away from everyone. This could be bad. Now with this guy out there, they don't know what he's going to be up to. But still, he seems pretty weak. Ruda explains what happened. If she was strong enough to get free of Baby's control, everyone else should be fine too. The Dragon Balls are still a priority. They need to make sure that Earth is safe. But still, they can't help but feeling concerned about Baby. He ends up going through space, trying to get stronger along the way. He needs to be able to possess someone. In his current state, he couldn't possess Ruda. That might have been a little bit too ambitious. Maybe one of the other two would have worked, but he's still not too sure. As he gets closer to Earth, he gets stronger. And by the time he's there, he needs to be strong enough to possess someone, or else this all won't work. It'll have been for nothing. But maybe he doesn't have to possess a Saiyan. Maybe he could find someone else out in space, steal their body, and take them to Earth. On his journey, he begins looking for planets. He needs to find a planet with strong life forms. Someone that's strong enough to increase his power, but not too strong where Baby can't possess them. And he finds an odd planet along this journey. It doesn't really seem to have too many strong people on it, but there is one really strong power that he can sense. It's not as crazy as the Saiyans he was fighting before, but still, it might be just exactly what he needs. It's a planet called Cereal. But he needs to be careful about this. If this doesn't go correctly, and if he doesn't get out of here fast enough, this could be it for him. He was lucky to get away once, but that's not going to happen again. He needs to possess as many people as possible. Thankfully, it'll be pretty easy to possess the people on planet Cereal. Most of them are weak, except for one. For the sake of the scenario, I'll assume that Manaido is still alive by now, although nearing the end of his life. He notices something strange. In the city nearby, all the people are starting to act really weird. Granola notices this too. He's in the city one day getting food for Manaido, and all the Shigarians are acting really weird. It's like they're staring him down or something. Some of them then lunge towards him. He grabs the eyepiece on his face with oatmeal, and thankfully, he could do this precisely. He throws it right back at Manaido's house, telling Oatmeal to deliver a message, get Manaido out of here. Oatmeal lands back at the house, telling Manaido to leave now. He's confused, what's going on? But maybe Granola's right, he needs to leave. Granola's in the city fighting off everyone, and then an odd feeling overcomes him. As he powers up, it's almost like something enters his body, taking control of him. Granola watches the Manaido ship leaves, hoping that he'll be okay. He has no idea of what's going on, but it's not good. And this is the last memory he has before he's taken control of by Baby. His eyes close and they open once more, now looking different. Okay, this body might be pretty interesting. Baby could feel some pretty significant power within Granola. This will be a great vessel to take to Earth and kill the Saiyans with. As Goku's crew continues their journey, Baby continues growing stronger, now with Granola's body as his main body. Baby Granola heads to Earth. Following the attack on planet Cereal, Manaido was able to escape, one of the only few to actually make it out alive. The rest, including Granola, have been taken over by Baby. But Manaido knows one place to go, and he knows he has to warn these people too. He heads over to Earth. His trip thankfully doesn't take too long, and he gets there just in time. He doesn't know where to look for people, but the first person he wants to consult is Bardock, so he seeks him out. Bardock and Guinea are at home with Chi-Chi and Ox Kid. Bardock sits up quickly, sensing someone outside. He hears a knock on the door and sees it's Monito. All four of them go to the door and answer, and Bardock says he knows who this is. Why is he here though? And where's Granola if he's here alone? Monito begins telling Bardock everything. Of course, he has no idea what's going on. He doesn't know that it's a Tuffle parasite that attacked. They just know that something attacked Planet Cereal, and it might be coming here next. Not only is Monito terrified, but he's saddened. As far as he knows, Granola risked his life and let him escape. He doesn't know if Granola's still alive. And Bardock tries sensing any key that he can, but he can't sense Granola anywhere. It could be okay though. Maybe he suppressed it somewhere. He can't sense whatever this monster is either. No one has any idea of what's going on. But maybe they should warn the others. Thankfully, there's still a lot of strong people on Earth. There's Vegeta, Gohan, 17, Raditz, and obviously Bardock too, as well as a few others. Around the same time, not too far away, a ship lands nearby in a city. It's the one with baby Granola on. He gets out and immediately he begins taking over the entire city, possessing anyone and everyone that he can. And at first it's pretty easy, there's no resistance at all. But two people then show up. It's the Great Saiyaman duo. Great Saiyaman 1 and 2 have arrived. It's been a while since they've done this, but they sensed something going on and they kinda wanted to keep their identity private. And when they get to the city, it's pretty strange. Everyone here is acting really weird, and they all stare down the Saiyaman. And then Gohan sees a familiar face. Granola? Why is he here, and what's going on with all this? It's hard to tell with the mask, but Baby can sense what's going on and vaguely make out what's going on thanks to Granola's memories. That person over there, he's part Saiyan. Gohan keeps trying to ask what's going on, but he gets no answer, and Baby immediately begins attacking. Gohan is very powerful, especially at this point in the story. Had Baby not amassed as much power as he has by now, this fight would be impossible, and he wouldn't be able to possess Gohan, but that's exactly what he's able to do here right now. The fight commences, and thanks to Granola's abilities as well as his great power, and the buff from Baby's own power, Baby is actually able to get ahead in this fight, easily dismantling Gohan and Videl's defenses, and then possessing them too. This is exactly what he needed. Now with a Saiyan on his side, as well as everyone else here, he'll be unstoppable. And just around the time that he possesses Gohan, others begin arriving in the area. Bardock teleports in with some others, and he's terrified. It's already too late. Standing there in front of him, he sees Granola, Gohan, and Videl, with an army of possessed humans behind them, and Baby is elated at what he sees. All the Saiyans came right to him, and there's one that particularly catches his eye, Vegeta. And the best part for him is, no one else has any idea of what's going on. They don't know what happened to Gohan and Videl and how to even fix it. It has something to do with Granola, but they can tell that Granola's not himself either. But Baby declares his presence, telling them all what's going on. Granola lifts up his single finger, aiming it at Raditz, who dodges right away. But he's then hit by another beam in his leg, one that only scrapes him. Granola then lunges over to him, holding Raditz hostage, then spreading the parasite to him as well. Vegeta and Bardock look out confused, and Baby begins speaking directly to Vegeta, right through Raditz actually. This is the revenge of the Tuffles. The Saiyans brought this upon themselves. With all these people possessed, Baby is unstoppable. Now all he needs is these two to join him. And as for those others out in space, he'll find them eventually. They'll be joining him too. Bardock and Vegeta can't believe what's going on, but Vegeta smirks. They eliminated the Tuffles once. It won't be hard to eliminate them again. Bardock agrees. Even with his old age, he's got a few tricks up his sleeve that'll help. He activates Ultra Instinct, with Vegeta going into Super Saiyan Blue. And actually, there might be a way to fix this. It's a parasite, and Bardock knows how he could probably remove it from their bodies. Force Spirit Fission can break up fusions, as well as stealing power from people. Maybe, just maybe, he'll be able to do this with these guys as well. Although, it's going to be tough. With his age, it's getting harder and harder to fight, and Ultra Instinct will help him defensively. This will mean he's able to avoid Baby's attacks, but it's tough for him to attack himself. But with Vegeta there, he's confident. Maybe they can make this work. Out in space, Goku's crew is heading back towards Earth, and they sense something terrible going on. That key, it's the same one they sensed before from that Tuffle. And something even stranger is going on. They sense Gohan's key, Raditz's key, Granola's key, even Videl's key. All of them have been mutated somehow. There's some sort of evil presence within them that wasn't in there before. And they're fighting Vegeta and Bardock. What's going on? But pretty quickly, it's easy to tell what's happened. That same parasite that attacked them before. Somehow, it must have gotten control of Granola, Gohan, and Raditz. And maybe many more beyond that. It's the worst case scenario. Baby has found Earth and is beginning to take over. He's on his path to eliminate all the Saiyans. Thankfully, they just got the last Black Star Dragon Ball, and they've been searching around for this parasite trying to see where he went. They stopped on some nearby planets, and a lot of them seemed okay. They even went to some planet called Metamore where they actually picked up a really weird new skill, but besides that, they've gotten no leads. They were hoping to find Baby out here in space, but it seems like they're going to have to head back to Earth right away. And thankfully, it shouldn't be too hard. They have two people here that can use instant transmission. Goku and Ruda place one hand down on the floor of the ship. Hopefully this is going to work. They try and teleport the entire ship back to Earth in order to get the Dragon Balls there too. Encasing it with their key, they might actually be able to pull this off, but they can't sense anyone to teleport to. They can't teleport right in the middle of the battle, especially while they have the Dragon Balls on them. They need to locate another key signature, but it's tough. Most of the strongest people are in the battle right now, but thankfully, there is one person that Ruta is able to sense. All the way on the island, she picks up on Jade's key. And oddly enough, she senses others there. Gine, Pan, Chi-Chi, Monaido. But this is good. At least they have a safe place right now. The entire ship with everyone on it is teleported to the island. And when they arrive, they see a bunch of people there. Besides the ones that Ruta and Goku sensed, obviously 16 and 17 are there as well. And Ox King too. They're trying to figure out what's going on, but even everyone on the island has no answers. Thankfully, Gine was able to teleport them out of harm's way. When Bardock left to fight, he told Gine she needed to protect everyone else. She was able to teleport to whoever she could and bring them here. Sadly, she doesn't know what happened with any of the other fighters, and some of the other humans like Bulma. This seems bad. Pan and Jade offer to help. They haven't gotten to fight yet, and they really feel like their power could help, but the group is concerned that it might be too dangerous. They don't even know what they're going up against. All they know is that it's some sort of parasite that could take over people. With those two there, this might make it even worse. But Ruta and Goku begin theorizing. There might be a way to force the parasite out of them, and they end up getting the same idea as Bardock. Using Force Spirit Fission, they might be able to reverse this, although it's going to be tough. Especially with all the strength he's acquired now, they might not have the opening that they need to actually perform this on him. And it's not just one person that they're performing it on. There's multiple powerful people that they need to attack first. And as they try sensing what's going on, it gets even worse. They can't sense Bardock's ki anymore. And as for Vegeta, they still sense it, but it's been taken over by Baby. He's found another victim. And now, Baby is stronger than ever. He has Vegeta in his control now. And he manifests most of himself through Vegeta, commanding the rest of the possessed population. Alongside with all the other people Baby possessed, we now have Baby Vegeta. On the island, no one has any idea of what to do. And what happened to Bardock? They can't sense him. Did he die or something? No, it can't be. There has to be some other explanation. But they get their answer right after. Bardock then teleports in, badly injured. And he's at Ultra Instinct. Ruta immediately goes up to heal him, asking what happened. Bardock begins explaining, but says there might be a way to reverse this. He explains his own theory about Force Spirit Fission, and Ruta and Goku say they're already ahead of him. Okay, they're getting a little bit more confident. This might work. With all these strong people on their side, it might actually help out. Although it seems like they might be disadvantaged at the moment. Sure, they have Goku, Bardock, Ruta, 17, and 16, as well as Goten and Trunks. But they're going to be fighting possessed versions of their friends who are already really strong. Vegeta, Raditz, Gohan, Granola. Wait, that gives Monaido an idea. He suggests that they try saving Granola first. And it's not for any selfish reasons, but he has an idea. If this Force Spirit Fission thing does work, after the first try, Baby's gonna already know about it. Hell, who knows, he might even know about it right now. But the first person that they attack is gonna be important, because after that it's gonna be very different trying to use this technique. With Granola on their side, he'll be able to detect vital points in the possessed fighters, and maybe his eye could even help locate Baby within them. In terms of a tactical decision, it would probably be best to get him first. Yeah, now that I think about it, that might actually work. Although, they gotta leave this island soon enough. It's only a matter of time before they're found. If they stay here too long, Baby and all the people he's possessed will get here eventually. This might be a safe haven right now, but once they're discovered, they're gonna have no time to react. The group tries to prepare, and they are a bit concerned. Yeah, they have a lot of strong fighters here, but consider what group it is. I mean, Ruta's the strongest of them right now. Goku's powerful, but now that he's a kid, he's lost a lot of his abilities. And Bardock is strong too, but his old age is catching up to him a bit. Goku's younger, Bardock's older. Their ages are affecting their fighting. But Goten and Trunks are really strong, and 16 and 17 could be a huge help. And just as they expected, eventually Baby does show up to the island. Baby Vegeta, Gohan, Raditz, and Granola show up, with Baby Vegeta at the helm, leading all of them. This is amazing. He has the power of the Saiyans, the power of God Ki. And that one Saiyan Bardock, he almost killed him before, but he'll be sure to finish the job this time. Baby Granola steps forward too. It's pretty ironic in a way. After looking through his memories, it looks like Granola will get revenge on the Saiyans after all, with some help from the Tuffles. Hopefully he doesn't mind Baby borrowing his body for a bit. Actually, forever. Once Baby gets his revenge, he'll be powerful enough to take on anyone. The group all looks at each other. They're not gonna fight here. Gine grabs the non-combatants and teleports out of there again, while Goku, Ruta, and Bardock all individually teleport away, going to a different location. Everyone has a plan. Left behind is 16, 17, Goten, and Trunks. Jade and Pan are there too, and hopefully 18 and Krillin will show up soon. Okay, Baby sees what they're doing. Obviously his main target is those stronger Saiyans. So Raditz grabs onto Vegeta and Granola, teleporting them over to the other Saiyans. Raditz comes back. Those two will fight the other Saiyans. Raditz and Gohan will be more than enough for these guys. Just as they wanted, Baby is split up now, and luckily Bardock's going to be fighting Granola. And the crew on this island should be enough. With their combined strength, they might be able to defeat Raditz and Gohan. Goten and 17 look over to Pan and Jade. For now they could stay back, maybe they could help out later. And the two are pretty bummed out by this, but they do listen. Damn, they thought this would be their chance. 16 and 17 step up first. They're going to be the main distraction. The two of them together aren't enough to take on Gohan and Raditz together, especially once the two of them begin powering up. Baby is still trying to get used to these bodies. Maybe he could channel God Ki through them. And it's weird too, he's mainly commanding Vegeta and Granola right now, so these two are kind of agents acting on their own. But they can at least try a little bit to tap into it, and eventually they are able to break into that God Ki. They're not able to go Super Saiyan Blue, but Super Saiyan God should be enough. Combined with the strength of Baby, that'll make this battle very easy, even if they are outmatched. And they wonder why Goten and Trunks aren't fighting. But Goten and Trunks take this opportunity to test something out. Remember before I said they stopped by a planet called Metamor? Well, they picked up something pretty interesting on there. They start performing some really weird dance, and they're able to pull it off flawlessly. Even the other fighters on their side are confused. 17 has no idea what just happened, and Jade and Pan watch on an amazement. Those two just turn into one person. Baby has the same exact reaction too. They fuse into one? Well, he goes into Gohan's memories. Yeah, he remembers that there's a Potara fusion. He's able to see that one time that Gohan fused with Piccolo. But they didn't have earrings. How do they fuse? The man stands there and points over to the two babies. He says Goten and Trunks were already powerful to begin with, but imagine combining their power together, and then greatly multiplying it on top of that. Baby chose the wrong people to pick a fight against. Oh, and he almost forgot. The man formally introduces himself. His name is Gotenks. Gotenks powers up into Super Saiyan, then jumping into the fight. So on one side of the planet, we have God Gohan and Raditz both possessed by Baby, fighting Super Saiyan Gotenks, Android 16 and Android 17. And then on the other side of the planet, we have another battle going on. Just around the same time, Baby Vegeta tries to tap into God Ki, but with Vegeta's body being the main one that is commanding, something really weird happens. He's not just taking control of his body and going Super Saiyan God. He ends up turning into Super Baby, except with a hint of God Ki. This power should be more than enough, and even though Granola doesn't have access to God Ki, his abilities will be very helpful as well. This is going to be a bit weird for Goku, but he powers up, going into Super Saiyan Blue. As a kid, it's really weird trying to contain this power, but he still has somewhat of a grasp on it. He hasn't really tried this much ever since he got turned back into this state. But he can make it work. Obviously, Ruda is there too, and she goes into Super Saiyan Blue. And Bardock hops back into Ultra Instinct. He has a really good control in it, so it's not like it's going to be draining or anything. It's just that attacking might be a problem, but defense is their main focus right now. Just as the other battle begins commencing on the other side of the planet, this one begins too. We have a fight against Baby on two different fronts. Let's go back to the island for a bit. Now with Gotenks in the fight, the battle's actually getting a lot more even. Gotenks is in Super Saiyan 2 right now. And even though he feels this is still kind of unfair. They're using God Ki. Maybe he should try using that himself. Wait, what? Baby Gohan and Raditz are confused. He could have tried possessing these two before. Are they implying that they also have God Ki? Oh yeah, after all these years, do you think they wouldn't have picked up on it? And especially now as Gotenks, this is the perfect vessel. And hey, with this God Ki, it might be easier to maintain their energy, meaning they can keep the fusion as efficient as possible, making it last as long as they can. A godly Ki encases Gotenks, with a fiery aura swirling up around him. The energy then bursts out, and his hair turns red. And with it being Gotenks and all, he gives a very flashy introduction. This is God Gotenks. Wait, no. This is God Tanks. Yeah, he thinks that sounds awesome. Baby Vegeta's fight rages on. Thankfully, Vegeta's body and Granola's body should be enough. But with them facing Bardock, Goku, and Ruda, it might be a bit tough. They're trying to aim for Granola. If they're able to remove Baby from him, he could really help, just like Minato said. That's their main goal right now, but it's tough. Bardock does have Ultra Instinct, but he is moving slower still. He's not nearly as powerful as he was before. He's past his peak already, and he's already getting older. As for Goku, he's a kid. He's inhibited by his age too. Ruda's at full strength and is stronger than ever, so she's really the only one fighting at maximum capacity. Damn, if only Goku was an adult again. They need to get Dragon Balls. But they continue their fight. At some point, Ruda is able to hit Granola, but she needs to attack him more. She doesn't want to try Spirit Fission right now because it might not work. She needs a better control on Granola. Back over on the island, the fight between Gotenks 17 and 16 continues with Raditz and Gohan. With Gotenks appearing and using Super Saiyan God, this actually helps make it pretty quick. Combine that with help from 17 and 16, and they're actually pulling ahead. Baby can't access the full power of Gohan and Raditz. And even if he could, who knows if he can counter Gotenks? This is awesome. They're so glad that they stopped by planet Metamor. With Godly Ki now combined with the power of Gotenks, this is amazing. The fusion feels so powerful. He's far beyond anyone else. Gohan and Raditz do put up a good fight, but they can't do much against him. Of course, Gotenks is still trying to get used to this body, trying to come up with different techniques or whatever, but it's not like Gotenks as a kid where he was trying to be rash about everything. Of course, he is showing off a bit, but it's the combination of an adult Goten and an adult Trunks. Not only are they much better fighters and much more powerful, but they've matured a lot more since then, and this is the first time they are fighting as Gotenks too. And eventually, they are able to win the fight, quickly dispatching those two. They have them unconscious and restrained. But then Monaido brings up a question. He doesn't know why he didn't even ask this before, but why is Goku a kid again? He was an adult last time that he saw him. It never even crossed his mind, but what happened? They try explaining to him. They don't know too many of the details themselves, and it's a stupid story anyways. Pilaf gang trying to be evil again, yada yada. Oh, and they accidentally turned him into a kid? Yeah, that's how it happened. But don't they have Dragon Balls? Well, they were kind of busy with the hunt for the Black Star Dragon Balls. Oh, Monaido has a perfect idea. Before he came here, he actually got something important. He didn't want these to be taken by some villain if he left these behind on his planet. And surprisingly, he pulls out 2 tiny Dragon Balls from under his cloak. Wait, he has his own set of Dragon Balls? Well, yeah, that's what Granola tried to use beforehand. Of course, Granola's wish did have a condition that came along with it. But if they try and wish Goku back to his normal self, it shouldn't be that bad. I mean, this isn't a big wish to ask for. And it's at least worth a shot. As the fight against Baby Vegeta and Baby Granola continues, the sky suddenly turns black. It's almost like Shenron's being summoned. They've seen this before, but what's happening? Who would have summoned a dragon and how? They have no clue, but back on the island, Monaido has used the Dragon Balls. He only has one simple wish: restore Goku back to his normal age. And back in the city where the fight's taking place, Goku suddenly starts feeling weird. He begins glowing, and then he grows taller. What the hell's going on? Ruda looks on excited. Someone must have had another pair of Dragon Balls, and then it hits Bardock. It must have been Monaido. Goku has a blank face at first, but then he looks down at his hands and his arms and he sees he's taller again. Wait, he got turned back into an adult. This is perfect. It's exactly what they need. He powers up in his Super Saiyan Blue. Baby Vegeta and Granola are taken aback. This is going to turn the tide of the battle. Bardock tries to take on Vegeta and distract him, while Goku immediately jumps back into the fight with Ruda joining alongside him. They start attacking Granola together, and then at the same time, they start using Spirit Fission. They gotta make this quick, or else Baby might be able to counter it, and he might be able to fortify against it. They're able to quickly pull the parasite out of Granola, and then destroying it midair. Granola falls to the ground unconscious, and Ruda briefly tries to heal him. Baby Vegeta looks on. Oh no. Ruda then says she's gonna check on the island. She then teleports over there, with Goku and Bardock standing in front of Vegeta. The other 2 people he infected are unconscious, and as for Granola, they now have him on their side. Granola starts to wake up, and Bardock tries to fill him on what happened. Goku begins talking with Baby Vegeta. Face it, it's over. All they need to do is attack him all together, and as soon as they all hit him, they'll be fine. Baby Vegeta then feels a pain in his chest. He looks over to Granola. He has 2 fingers out, and he just launched a blast right out of Vital Point. He's completely stunned. He can't move, and Goku walks closer to him. He's about to hit Baby Vegeta to try to use Spirit Fission, but Baby throws on 2 massive blasts to knock everyone back, as well as fling himself backwards. Ruda then comes back. She separated the parasite out of Raditz and Gohan. Everyone there on the island is fine. They just need to deal with this one last person. Baby Vegeta's anger is getting towards him. He needs more power. If he's gonna make this successful, he needs something beyond this. But that's it. Vegeta has more power within him. That godly key. He needs to get access to that, just like he was thinking before. I mean, Raditz and Gohan were able to do it. But this is gonna be a bit different. He's already Super Baby, but he can go beyond that. He powers up, transforming once more and mutating again. He brings out a brand new power, Godly Ki. The Saiyans and Granola watch on. They're not too fazed by this. They kind of expected it at some point, but still, they outnumber him and possibly even overpower him. But something's different. Of course, Vegeta's mutating. With Baby inside of him, it's not just like he's going Super Saiyan Blue or whatever. No, it's completely different. This is Super Baby 2, with the combined power of God Ki. Baby Vegeta looks at them. Are they still confident that they can take him down? Of course, that technique's not going to work again. He knows to try and counter against it. He just needs to try to not be hit as much as possible. And even if he is, who cares? He can fortify himself, make sure that the parasite isn't removed. Granola looks over at the group. It was good that they freed him. He could probably try and figure out some vital points. This fight is definitely going to be tough. And the group can tell. Individually, none of them would stand a chance against godly Baby Vegeta. But that's the thing, they're not alone. Of course, Goku, Ruda, and Bardock are a bit tired out by now, especially Bardock. But it's nothing too bad. Ruda wanted to bring Goten and Trunks along, but now they gotta wait to fuse again and they said they don't really want to join if they're just fighting like this. It might be a little bit too risky. She does teleport back there and then bring 17 and 16 along. Maybe this can help. The more people they have, the better. Baby Vegeta needs to think of a plan. He knows exactly what to do. He needs to fight them individually. Taking everyone down one at a time will work. He tries to go for the weakest first, but needs to separate everyone out. It's gonna be tough, but maybe he can also take over people. Of course, they know to avoid this now, just as he knows to avoid Spirit Fission. Keep his distance from those 3 Saiyans, and he'll be good. But knowing Granola after using his body, he'll be an issue. So he goes for Granola first. He's one of the weaker ones and his ability is something that definitely needs to be countered right away. As soon as he launches towards Granola, the 2 androids step in front of him, each of them throwing up powerful barriers. Baby breaks through them, but they do slow him down a bit, and then from each of his sides, he sees Bardock and Goku begin attacking. Quickly, he places a hand out, launching a blast that propels him up into the air, and he meets Ruda up there. She swings at him, and he's barely able to dodge it, then hitting her with a kick to the side. Bardock and Goku launch up, and they start trying to attack. Wait a second, Goku realizes something. He's back in his adult body. He has his full power back. Super Saiyan Blue's not his limit anymore. Baby tries to counter with an attack, but Goku suddenly dodges. It looks like he completely vanishes. A powerful aura explodes out of him. He transforms, going into Ultra Instinct. No, he has it too. The Ultra Instinct father and son duo begins fighting. Goku's glad to have his adult body back. Sure, he was fine with his kid body before, but for a fight like this, he wants to be at his full power. It's a good thing Monaido was here. Whenever Baby tries attacking them, he can't. With his own speed, he's barely able to dodge their attacks. And instead of defending, he counters with offense. Whenever they're about to attack him, he launches a counterattack. He tries to keep his distance, using mostly ki blasts and all. At one point, Goku almost hits him with a kick, but Baby's able to put both hands out in front of him, launching a massive blast. Goku flips over at midair, and as he finishes his flip, he places his hands in front of him, throwing blasts down at Baby. This sends Baby crashing into the earth, and just as he's about to hit the ground, Ruda then lands a powerful kick on him. They just need to attack him a few more times, and then he does something weird. He begins retreating. Or no, he's trying to get as much distance as possible. They're not sure what he's trying to do. They of course keep chasing him, but he flies back and upwards. And up in the sky, he places two hands up. He needs to summon all of his power at once, and he begins charging his ultimate attack, a Revenge Death Bomb. With all the power he's gathered so far, this should be enough. Of course this will be able to blow up Earth pretty easily, but this attack might be strong enough to kill everyone too. Even Goku and Bardock can't counter it. But as he starts charging it, it continues losing energy. What? What's happening? Why is the energy leaking out of it? Ruda's using Spirit Vision. She's not able to remove the parasite yet, but she's hit him enough to actually try and steal some energy by now. And it's enough to completely counter the charging from this attack. And Baby then feels a powerful pain in his side. One of his vital points has been hit. He grabs it. Granola's on a nearby rooftop. He snipes Baby again, and again, and again. Baby's continuously hit by these attacks. He feels two presences behind him as Goku and Bardock teleport there, each hitting him with a punch at the same time. Granola's attacks continue overwhelming him, and whenever he tries launching an attack at Granola, 17 and 16 are there to defend. Baby gets hit more and more. He's worn out. Granola then charges one final shot. This will finish it. He hits a vital point that completely paralyzes Baby Vegeta, and together, Goku, Bardock, and Ruda all lift a hand up. The parasite is then removed from Vegeta's body. Of course, Baby looks very different now from when they first saw him. He actually doesn't look like a baby. They should call him adult now. Jokes aside though, Baby's now finally removed from Vegeta's body. Vegeta is completely unconscious, and the parasite has no idea what to do. He tries to escape, flying high up into the sky, trying to go out into the atmosphere, but then ki explodes out of the back of his head. Granola sniped him one last time. Baby's hit again in the vital point, and he tries to regenerate it, but he's already paralyzed, falling back down to the ground. And as he falls, Goku, Bardock, and Ruda all look up. They begin charging an attack together, a triple Kamehameha. They all launch it directly upwards, completely incinerating Baby. They're not even in their final forms anymore. They've powered down by now, and together, they all eliminate the Tuffle. And now, Earth is finally at peace again. Vegeta wakes up, getting filled on everything that happened. He can't believe a Tuffle did all of that. He didn't realize he got that strong after absorbing everyone, and he's mostly surprised that Goku's an adult again. Well, that's all solved, as well as the Black Star Dragon Ball stuff. The best part is, they don't need to worry about Earth exploding this time. Unlike in the original story, Earth is actually completely safe. Well, at least for now. Sure, it's not gonna explode, and Baby's been defeated, but that doesn't mean this is where it ends. No, there's still more of GT that we need to cover, and I feel the next arc is gonna be particularly interesting. You could probably already guess why. In Hell, two people are united, working on a new plan. Dr. Gero and Dr. Mew are working together, trying to create a brand new weapon. The best part is, this weapon already exists, or at least half of it. They're gonna be using Android 17, and look at how strong 17 has gotten. Since this is taking place after Super, 17 is incredibly powerful compared to how he was in GT. Especially given what's happened in this scenario so far. Gero sees the potential in this. And in Hell, they create something else, a brand new machine mutant. This is Hellfighter 17. Once Hell and Earth are merged, they'll be able to send Hellfighter 17 there, enacting their plan. Let's go over to 17's island. Of course, this is going to affect things a lot differently than it did last time, given 17's presence in the story beforehand. Not to mention, the fact that he's related to one of the main characters, Ruda. Everyone's out of the house one day, doing a normal patrol on the island. 17 starts hearing a voice in his head. It's strange, and he's not sure of what's going on. Something's trying to influence him, and it's working. Everything seems normal at first. I mean, it's just an average day. But randomly at some point, 17 lifts a hand up, charging a blast aimed right at Ruby. He launches it. It catches her off guard. She's launched far away. 16 and Jade are completely confused. What the hell was that? He attacked Ruda for no reason, but he looks at the two of them and then smirks. 16 tries to analyze him. Of course he can't sense anything, but mechanically, he can at least look into 17 that way. And something's weird. He tells Jade he's not sure, but 17 seems to be being controlled by something, and he doesn't know what. He tells her to go find Ruda, and 16 then prepares to fight 17. They can't help but feel this is oddly familiar. Jade eventually does find Ruta and tells her what's going on. He's being controlled by something, but they don't know what. Of course, this isn't the first time that Gero tried to attack from hell, but they don't know that's what's happening. And of course, Gero teamed up with someone different this time. Last time it didn't work. This time it definitely will. The cell that they sent from hell last time, yeah, that wasn't gonna work. But this, taking over someone from the inside, they're gonna have 17 work with them, combining his power with Hellfighter 17's, and then that'll create the ultimate fighter, Super 17. But they still got a ways to go. This isn't gonna happen right now. 17 begins his fight with 16, and the two actually seem pretty decently matched. 16 has been upgraded time and time again, as discussed in earlier parts, but 17 isn't using his full power right now. He doesn't want to kill people right now, no. He's just trying to deliver a message. Ruta then flies back over with Jade, trying to figure out what's going on. What's gotten into 17? 16 simply says they're not dealing with 17 anymore. They're dealing with something different. Well, it is 17, he is physically there, but he can't tell what's going on. There's some sort of communication coming to him from somewhere else, and he doesn't know what it is, but it's a familiar source. And 17 sees that he's outmatched, and suddenly he backs down, but he jumps up into the air, and as he flies away, he tells him to deliver a message. This also applies to Ruta too. He needs them to visit hell, and suddenly, a portal begins opening in the sky. There's a giant black hole, a rift that actually leads right to hell, and from that portal, familiar villains from hell begin emerging, those who have died, those that have been killed by the Saiyans and everyone else on Earth. Gero and Dr. Mew watch on from hell. Their plan is finally coming to fruition. This is going to work. And with 17's power on their side, combined with that of Hellfighter 17, they'll create the ultimate warrior. Even better than Cell, even better than the androids beforehand. This might even be better than Baby. Now, we begin entering the Super 17 arc. From that portal created to hell, villains begin coming to the living world. People who have died before and gone to hell are now back on Earth, causing a ton of chaos together. Thankfully, they're able to be countered pretty quickly, but still, from the Sacred World of Kais, Piccolo and all the Kais there watch on. This is getting bad. This is weird too. I mean, a portal to hell opening and bringing everyone back? Oh yeah, they're likely gonna need to intervene at some point. Especially to fix whatever disaster this is. Piccolo might actually have to go back to Earth. They continue watching on as Piccolo begins contemplating a plan. They're not the only ones watching on. Beerus and Whis of course see this as well. Great. More antics with hell. Just what they needed. Well, those mortals can handle it themselves and they should be fine with it. But still, what the hell is happening? Especially with Android 17. Ruta, Jade, and 16 are just as confused as everyone else. And with no better thing to do, they teleport to Goku trying to figure out what to do next. Getting Goku's help was actually good. Maybe they can all go to hell together, or at least just Ruta and Goku. They think 16 and Jade should stay back, because going to hell should be pretty dangerous. I mean, they're going to hell. It's right in the name. So they should leave some people back here, which is good too. Jade and 16 go off, going to help fight any other villains that came to Earth. In one city, there's a pretty surprising opponent. Hit is back from hell. Granted, he's not a pure evil person, but he definitely would be sent there, although it's just a question of which universe he would go to. Since he died in Universe 7, let's say he got sent to the Universe 7 hell. Also because it makes things more interesting as he faces off against Gohan once again, as well as Pan, Jade, Goten, and Trunks. Far away, there's another battle going on. Raditz and Vegeta fight Nappa and the Ginyu Force. Nappa is elated to see both of them again, until he immediately gets wiped out by one single attack from Raditz. Well, Vegeta takes on the Ginyu Force, and it's really nothing at all. More villains continue coming from hell, and with how strong everyone is now, it's actually not that big of a deal. Hit would probably be the biggest threat, but even he wouldn't be too hard to take on now. Although, this isn't everyone. In hell, Goku and Ruta meet two strong people there. Two people from their past that they remember very well. They see Moro and Frieza, a really odd and surprising team-up. They're both delighted to see these Saiyans again, and as for Frieza, he's surprised to see Ruta. Oh, this is something new. After everything she's heard about Frieza and all the stories, she wants to actually take him on. It's her turn to make him pay. While Goku goes to fight Moro, Moro is delighted to see Goku once again, and they fight, but Goku is far stronger than before, and effortlessly, he transforms into Ultra Instinct, and not Omen, he transforms into actual Ultra Instinct. Now that he's back in his normal body, he's finally adjusted and has full control again, making use of all his power and training from beforehand. At first, he didn't really care about being a kid, but now, he's glad that he's back. This makes for a really fun fight against Moro, although he's so far above the Magician that it's not really too interesting for him. He wipes out Moro pretty effortlessly, and the same goes for Ruta and Frieza. She's surprised, she expected Frieza to be a lot stronger, but whatever, hey, that's all solved now. Although there's an issue. It seems the two of them are trapped in hell. Oh great, so now they have to deal with that. Back in the living world, all the past enemies have been defeated pretty easily, and Piccolo was even given permission to intervene by the Kais. Which is perfect timing because he's able to free Goku and Ruta from hell, going down there and helping them escape. Side note, I would love to have more villain cameos, especially Zamasu, but he got Hakkai'd, so he's not even going to be in hell regardless. But at least I got to show Hit and Moro again, so it's not just Z and GT villains. But in the living world, there still is one opponent to fight. Well, two of them, but they turn into one. Both the 17s appear, Hellfighter 17 and Regular 17. They don't know why there's two of them, but they're not going to question it. They fought weirder opponents. They watch as the two 17s merge, creating Super 17. 18 is one of the people they're watching on. And around that same time, Ruda and Goku come back. They all watch on astounded, specifically 18, Ruda, and Jade. What the hell's happening to 17? This doesn't even look like him anymore. Vegeta and Raditz don't care. They lead the charge, immediately going to attack Super 17, who holds them off actually pretty easily. Raditz would actually try and defuse them right now. He's able to hit Super 17 at some point, but then he realizes this isn't going to work. He knows he could use Force Spirit Fission to defuse people, but not androids like this. They're both mechanical, or at least Hellfighter 17 is. And 17 is partly mechanical himself. The two of them aren't connected in a way that a normal fusion is. This is a machine essentially that he's fighting. He can't defuse that with Force Spirit Fission. Super 17 is just as amazed. His power is insane. The power of two 17s fused together. No one's going to be able to defeat this power.
Nobody can beat me when I'm Super 17. Prepare to die!
Plus, he can absorb other people's powers as well. They come to find that out pretty quickly. This isn't the first time they fought someone that could absorb energy, and to be fair, they know how to do it themselves, but still, this means that they can't use any key attacks whatsoever. They need to now rely purely on physical attacks. But Super 17 expected this. He knew that they'd probably start to avoid this once they saw the trick. But who cares, this is fine. This means he could draw them in closer, landing more severe attacks on them. Plus, it makes it nicer for him. He is outnumbered right now, and with so many people coming at him at once, it makes it kind of hard for him to fight altogether. There's only so many people that could be attacking at the same exact time. So this gives him another advantage. Android 16 is standing there, trying to analyze 17 and try and find some sort of weakness. He's been upgraded yet again, and this time, it's a pretty important upgrade. It was inspired by Granola. Granola provided some input for Bulma last time he was on Earth, including some DNA too, which she was able to study. The group found it pretty interesting, specifically 16, and asked if he could try and use his power somehow. Granola doesn't know if it's going to work, but hey, maybe she can make some sort of mechanical replicant. Maybe she could fabricate some sort of eye that's similar to the Cerealians. And she's able to do something. It's not as great as Granola, but she's able to upgrade his eyesight. Before he was able to scan people, but now it's even more in depth, being able to even locate vital points pretty easily, and if given time and focus, he could find this. It's not as quick or precise as Granola's, but it's there, and it's a very valuable upgrade that might help him here, especially since they're fighting a mechanical person and not a real person. But still, even with a collective effort, it's going to be tough. Super 17 is very powerful, more powerful than anyone even expected, even 17 himself. And it's not like he's being controlled by Gero or Mew either. They're both dead by now, easily killed by the others, and 17 didn't really want to be controlled by them in the first place, not like he was going to. But he wasn't going to let them live regardless. Piccolo, Goku, and Ruda retreat for a bit, as the others fight Super 17. They go to meet up with Bardock, wondering if he could fight too. But something weird happens. He turns it down, but he's angered. He's angered at himself, his own weakness. He does want to help. He really does want to join the fight, but he can tell he's just going to get in the way. With how old he's getting now, he feels like it's only just going to slow him down. He felt this in the last fight versus Baby, and now it's still catching up to him. But he realizes there is a way that he could help. He puts both of his hands on Goku and Ruda's backs, lending them a bunch of his power. Despite him not being at his prime strength, he still has a bunch of power in reserve, and he tells them he doesn't want him to sit here and do nothing. This at least means his power can be put to use. And he tells them to go, waste no more time and defeat whatever monster this is. Damn, he knew his daughter should have never married an android. They arrive back at the fight and see the hybrids all fighting together, including Pan and Jade too. And this is one of the first times that Jade's actually showing off Super Saiyan. Considering her age and who she's been training with, she definitely would have it by now, and probably even has enough control over it to go beyond it and even go Super Saiyan 2. Especially with this whole event making her even angrier than before, given who she's fighting. But still, they're not sure what they're supposed to do. Even with all this great power they have, 17 can absorb it in certain ways. And it's not like they could just flat out kill him right here. With how close the group is to 17 here, and I mean the fact that his sister and his wife and his daughter are right there, killing him isn't an option. It still is partially 17. They need to save him somehow and restrain him, which only makes the situation more difficult and more complicated than it was before, if it wasn't already complicated. They're still relying on 16 to come up with a plan, but they need to buy some more time for him, as he continues to analyze 17 and tries to figure out a weakness and some sort of cure for this, if anything. And that's the thing, he thinks there might be a way to reverse this. I mean, this is all mechanical, maybe he could fix this. Not to mention, if there's any magic involved, they have Piccolo there. Any sort of weird magic from Hell linked to him will be erased for good. Piccolo's already finished closing up the portal to Hell, so all that's fixed. With how powerful his magical abilities are right now, it was actually pretty simple, and he could help out here too. But then, 16 has an idea. Super 17 is just two androids merged together, and if androids merging can influence how 17 operates, maybe he could figure out a way to do that himself. If he merges into 17 somehow. I mean, think about it. He's not a simple robot anymore like the original Android 16. He has regenerative abilities, and his body is made of a bunch of nanomachines. This might actually work. It would be weird and probably uncomfortable, maybe even painful for 17, but maybe he can merge into Super 17, expelling all of the evil influence or taking it within himself. And here's his plan. He's gonna merge into Super 17, absorbing the Hellfighter part of him, then overcoming it. It seems dangerous, but it also seems like their only option besides actually killing 17. And they don't really want to resort to that, so it looks like this is the best way. First, they need a distraction. They need to coax 17 into absorbing energy. Goku and Ruda have the perfect idea, as well as Raditz joining in, with all three of them powering up into Super Saiyan Blue. Vegeta's gonna help assist 16 as well as everyone else. Again, they can't have a ton of people attacking him at once. The three all power up and try and charge the biggest beam that they can. They really hope this plan works because otherwise they're going to be giving 17 a bunch of energy. Super 17 begins laughing. What are they doing, another ki attack? Don't they know he can just absorb it? I mean, they just saw that beforehand. But Ruda says he can only absorb so much. He can't absorb an attack like this. Of course, that's not the truth. They're just doing this to distract him, but they needed some sort of reason so he didn't get suspicious. 17 begins laughing, and he accepts their challenge. He leaves himself wide open, and they launch the beam right at him. He begins absorbing it, and this means he can't attack anyone at all right now. As he continues absorbing their energy, 16 then uses this opportunity to attack, wrapping himself around 17. Super 17 has no idea what's happening. He's being squeezed. And then, Android 16 disappears as all of his nanomachines enter 17. Super 17 falls to the ground. He doesn't know what's happening, and at the same time, Piccolo holds him there with magic, paralyzing him and trying to expel any sort of influence. This combination of a mechanical and a magical attack actually might work. Surprisingly, Super 17 begins morphing again, and suddenly, he separates. It's an explosive separation, and in the aftermath, they see an unconscious Android 17, and Android 16 as well, but his demeanor is completely different, and he tells them, it worked. Hellfighter 17 is merged with inside him. But isn't that a bad thing? That means Hellfighter 17 is probably controlling him. Well, no. 16's plan worked. They're able to expel any sort of evil influence from Hell. And even with that, 16 said he's so much more advanced than Hellfighter 17 that he's able to completely overcome any mechanical influence as well. He's working continuously to suppress the power, and eventually it's gone completely, meaning he basically just absorbed some extra android parts, as well as any extra energy that he absorbed and any other extra powers. So, in a way, this just created Super 16. He became a lot stronger than before. So this is a win-win. He saved 17 by doing this, and he got stronger. They just hope that this won't have any side effects down the line, but for right now, it seems fine. And funny enough, this makes Super 16 the strongest fighter of the group, an ever-growing regenerative warrior with abilities and data from everyone around him, as well as a bunch of power that he just absorbed. This is going to be a pretty interesting thing to see in the future, especially with him fighting more and more. 17 then wakes up, confused and not knowing what happened or where he is. Instantly, he's berated by Ruda and Jade, yelling at him and getting mad for him going crazy, but everyone laughs it off and then they reconcile, filling 17 in on what happened, and he apologizes even though it wasn't really his fault. He just hopes he didn't cause any damage, especially to the island. And thankfully, damage was kept to a minimum. Sure, there was some fighting on the island, but no one died there and no one got injured. This includes animals as well, and there was no fights in the city. They were able to keep all the enemies from Hell away from that. They wanted to try avoiding using any sort of Dragon Balls after this, so they wanted to keep damage as low as possible. Of course, they couldn't prevent all damage, and no one got hurt or killed, so hey, it's a success. So for now, it seems everything's okay. Well, hopefully. Now they don't have to worry about anyone from Hell getting revenge ever again, which is weird because this is the second time it happened. But hey, who else is there that wants to get revenge on them? There's no way they're going to face any sort of vengeance in the future, right? I mean, the Tuffles have been stopped, Granola was stopped, there's no villains in Hell anymore. There's no way another villain is going to show up. Someone seeking vengeance for something, right? Well, let's ignore that for now and go over to Bardock. He sensed everything from his house and it seems that it's all calmed down, so it's good. Everything seems to work out in the end. He and Guinea are already feeling older and older, just as I discussed before. Every day that passes, Bardock feels a little bit slower than before. He even tries to keep training himself, but he can't train for as long or as intensely. He just wants to see where his power is and he can tell it's decreasing every day. He can't keep up with himself from before. And the worst part is, he's losing power. He even tries to go into Ultra Instinct Omen, but it's completely gone. He used it in the last arc, but was barely able to tap into its full power. So that means right now, Super Saiyan Blue is his peak, and even that is fleeting. It's getting harder for him to maintain that form. So not only is his power decreasing in general, but he's losing access to forms and techniques that he had before. I mean, he's not too worried, like, he knew this was going to happen eventually. He was getting pretty old, and Saiyans age rapidly around this time. But still, he feels weak. He doesn't want to feel this way. He wants to be involved. And it also kind of saddens him a bit. Does this mean the end is drawing near for him and Guinea as well? They've lived good lives and they come to terms with the fact that they might die of old age soon. But still, it leaves Bardock thinking, what's next for him and everyone else on Earth? Well, this series isn't over yet.
The Pilaf gang is still around. Alright, well, if they turn Goku into a kid, maybe they should turn themselves into kids. Yeah, that would work. Or not kids, just young again. Then they'll be much more effective as villains. Using the Dragon Balls one more time won't hurt, right? They're able to gather the Dragon Balls and wish for youth. It's the perfect plan to counteract Goku and defeat him. The worst part is, they find out Goku's not even a kid anymore. He's actually an adult again. So everything they've done is pretty much pointless. Although it is going to have consequences, their use of the Dragon Balls, as well as everyone else's, is going to affect the story. The Dragon Balls here are weird, and they are cracked. And when they summon the dragon, something weird happens. The group notices the sky turn black, but it's already too late. They fly over and they see. Black Smoke Shenron appears. The over-reliance on the Dragon Balls is going to bite everyone. And now we begin the Shadow Dragon saga. Negative energy surrounds the Earth, and the Shadow Dragons appear, created by Smoke Shenron who gathers power. And I'm going to be making a change here to make them stronger. These Shadow Dragons aren't just affected by Earth Dragon Balls in this scenario. They're going to be affected by Namek Dragon Balls, Cereal's Dragon Balls, and even the Super Dragon Balls. There's not going to be a dragon for every single wish made in the story, and we are still going to go with 7, but this is going to buff them significantly. Well, at least a few of them. Depending on the size and the scope of each wish, some of them are stronger than before, some much stronger, especially one created by the Super Dragon Balls, although he hasn't appeared yet. There's a few on Earth right now, and even one on planet Cereal attacking Granola for his wish a while back. Luckily, he's able to defend against this dragon, defeating him pretty easily. Okay, that wasn't such a big issue, but what the hell's going on here? This dragon, it just randomly appeared out of nowhere. He tries honing in his senses, and he can sense all the way on Earth there's fights happening again. And then randomly, someone teleports in. It's Bardock. What the hell? Why is he here? Bardock is getting more and more tired out, weaker by the day. And even though he can't fight these dragons, he still wants to help. He can at least warn Granola and the others, but it seems that Granola is already okay, which is good. Just from using instant transmission, he feels a bit tired out. At least for going this long distance, but he says he'll be okay. Granola's actually pretty concerned to see this. Damn, Bardock really is feeling older and older by the day. And since Granola's fine, he's gonna return to Earth. But Granola says he wants to help. He tells Bardock to bring him to Earth with him. Well, alright, but just make sure he knows what he's getting into. Remember before how I said Bardock's limit was Super Saiyan Blue? Well, now it's Super Saiyan God. His aging gets more exponentially rapid by each day. Granola notes this too, surprised at how much he's been weakened. And it's kinda odd too. Had Granola not reversed the wish that he made before, well, he would have been in the same scenario. Actually, he would have died a while ago. He wouldn't have even made it this far. And he feels kinda bad. He can tell Bardock wants to keep helping, but he can only do so much. Thankfully back on Earth, most of the dragons are weak in comparison, besides the 3 created from the Super Dragon Ball's wishes. Even with the collective power of all of Namek's Dragon Balls and of Earth's Dragon Balls, some of the dragons are still too weak. There were 3 wishes from the Super Dragon Balls that generated these dragons. One from Beerus during the Universe 6 tournament, the one that restored Earth in Universe 6. Then, there is the one created by Zamasu's wish. Or both of the Zamasu wishes. Both of them collectively work together, even across timelines. These sets of wishes created very powerful dragons, Nova and Ice. But then there is one more dragon, one created from the wish during the Tournament of Power, the one made that restored all of the universes after Zeno erased them. And this is the most powerful dragon by far. I mean, just consider the scope of the wish and the Dragon Balls used. Although, this dragon hasn't been found yet. No one knows where it is or when it's gonna appear. But this dragon is Sin Shenron, and he has a plan. He's not going for Earth right away for repentance. He's going for a much bigger target, the Supreme Kais. But meanwhile back on Earth, the other twin dragons are there. They are definitely the fiercest of the dragons so far, and the group even underestimates them at first. But compared to the other dragons, it's not even a contest. These guys are actually so strong in comparison to the other dragons that it makes those guys look like a joke in comparison. They weren't even an issue, and the group was happy because they thought that it would be an easy fight, but no, this is a hard fight, and this is only just beginning. And remember, these guys aren't connected to any of Earth's Dragon Balls, so Nova's not going to be the same dragon as he was before. Nor is Ice. The twins are purely bad, and they're hell-bent on bringing destruction on Earth. The group tries to hold them off. And this is definitely the fiercest fight yet. The fact that they're fighting 2 dragons at once doesn't help. These 2 have perfect synergy when fighting. And their power helps a lot too. They also gotta do something about that negative energy surrounding Earth. Goku, Ruda, and Raditz are thinking, maybe they could try something with Spirit Vision, but no, that's not gonna work. This isn't just any regular energy that they can just steal away and do whatever they want with it. No. They're gonna have to actually defeat these dragons. And they can't even take their energy from the dragons either. It's strange, the power emanating off of them. and this handicap's gonna make the fight really tough. Well, whatever, Goku's pumped up. It's been a while since he's had a real fight like this, one where he's had a handicap without Spirit Vision too. It's not like he immediately resorts to that anyways, it's just that this is gonna make things a bit more fun, because they're gonna have to work on a different strategy. He and Ruda take on Nova together, while Vegeta and Raditz take on Ice. The rest of the group stands by for support. Goten and Trunks even want to fuse again, but they also kinda don't want to get in the way here. Maybe these two groups will be enough to defeat the dragons. But in case they do need to fight, they're ready. Meanwhile, on the Sacred World of Kais, Piccolo is sensing everything. He's trying to keep track of what's going on Earth, as are the other Kais. They know everything's in disarray, and they want to do something about it. Considering this does involve the universe and not just Earth, yeah, maybe it's their time to get involved. There's no need for that hands-off approach here. But to make things worse, Shin then alerts everyone. He senses something coming close to them. That same negative energy they felt on Earth. There's one out in space, one coming towards the Sacred World of Kais. What? How is it reaching this realm even? No one is sure. This isn't just any normal planet that someone could just find. This guy's traversing through dimensions. And soon enough, he arrives. Zen Shenron arrives on the planet. His primary target is Piccolo, the one who helped restore the universes. And in the meantime, he will destroy the rest of the Kais too. Piccolo immediately tries fighting him, but does absolutely nothing. Like, Piccolo can't even leave a scratch on this guy. Now, Piccolo's definitely not the strongest of the group, but he is incredibly powerful, especially since he spent decades with the Supreme Kais by now. He powers up as far as he can go, but even then, his power's not doing anything to Zen Shenron, even with all the Kais helping him too. What the hell is this guy? He needs to protect the other Kais though. He tells them to leave. He'll handle this. If they die, things will go into disarray. Plus, he is the strongest of them, and he doesn't want them to be at risk. The Kai say they're not going to leave Piccolo's side, so instead he leaves their side. He tackles Sin, and it does nothing, but he then teleports him away using the Kai Kai. And he knows exactly where to go to. He needs help, and he hopes they don't mind, but he's going to bring this guy to Earth. By the time he arrives, thankfully the other two dragons have been defeated. But now they face the real foe. Sin is incredibly happy with himself. The power he has is insane. None of them can even hope to defeat him. I mean, they could try, but they're not going to do anything against him. He was planning on absorbing the other dragons too, but he might not even need that. Remember the wish that he was generated from? A wish from Super Shenron to restore every universe that was erased by Zeno. I don't even need to tell you how big the scope of that wish is. So even just as Zen Shenron, not Omega, this guy is miles ahead of the other dragons. Even the twins that were just defeated. The group expected Piccolo to arrive. Goku was the one who actually suggested this to him, and Piccolo knows he probably didn't check with the others, but it should be fine. The group's okay with fighting this guy because he probably would have come to Earth eventually anyways. So if they couldn't defeat those other two dragons, how the hell are they supposed to defeat this guy? Well, first they need to deal with that negative energy, and Piccolo has the perfect idea. His own magic. It should be more than potent enough to deal with this. Even if their spirit vision isn't gonna work, Piccolo has actual magic. He is a Kai after all, and with his abilities, he could probably reverse this. And not just that, but it'll help them. Although he's gonna need someone else to fight the dragon, which is perfectly fine. They were planning on fighting the dragon anyways. If Piccolo needs to do that to reverse the negative energy, then so be it. But still, even with their current power, even combined, it might not be enough to defeat this guy. They start fighting him, and they're hopeless. There's absolutely nothing they can do against him. And even if they do remove the negative energy from Earth, who knows if that's gonna do anything? This guy is still gonna be so incredibly powerful that they won't be able to make him budge. And Piccolo's thinking, and he has a perfect idea. It's something he did a while ago, something with Gohan. He tells them if they need to combine everyone's powers, that might work. Gohan knows exactly what he's talking about. He chimes in, asking Piccolo if he means fusion. Yup, he has Potara earrings with him. But now, he just needs to figure out who to fuse. He and Gohan fusing again would be powerful, but it wouldn't be enough to defeat Shenron. They want to have the two strongest people fuse, or at least the two people with the potential to make the strongest fusion. And he looks around. Goku and Ruda? Goku and Raditz? Raditz and Vegeta? Actually, any combination of these four Saiyans would be great. But then he looks over and sees Bardock's there too. He's trying to help fight, but he can't really do much right now. And the thing is, Piccolo knows that Bardock has insane potential and power locked up within there, but his age, that's what's holding him back. Now, this might be a long shot, and it is risky, but if the risk pays off, the reward will be very high. He goes to Bardock. He says that he should fuse with Goku. Bardock's confused. Isn't he just gonna hold the fusion back? Well, not entirely. Piccolo's not too sure yet, but he assumes that if the two of them fuse, maybe it'll split the difference between their age. So even though Bardock's old now, it's basically gonna draw out the power from his youth, essentially reversing his aging as long as they're fused. And if this theory is correct, this will be the strongest fusion that they could possibly create, a fusion between Goku and Bardock. They all consult with the group first, and they actually agree to this, even though it is a big risk. Again, the reward would definitely pay off if this works. So, there's no more time to waste. Goku immediately puts on one of the earrings, turning to Bardock. He hesitates, but he decides what the hell. Either way, this is going to give him another opportunity to fight. He puts on the earring and the two fuse. As the rest of the group holds off Sin Shenron, he then senses a huge burst of energy nearby. As he's distracted, he turns back. This allows an opening for Vegeta, Raditz, Ruda, and Granola to all attack at once. Sin tries to counter these attacks, turning his attention away from that huge burst of power. And then he's hit in the back of the head. A powerful kick is delivered. He turns back again, but can't see anything. Then, someone punches him across the face. It's strong. He tries attacking, but no one's there. Someone is teleporting around him. He begins looking around. And then down on the ground, he sees someone with their arms crossed, looking up at him. He looks kind of like those two people he's seen before, except his hair is longer and his armor's different. The fusion smirks. It turns out Piccolo's idea did work. It did split the difference. Bardock's age doesn't matter anymore. All of the power from his youth is back into this fusion. And not just that, it's combined with Goku's, and then heavily multiplied. I mean, consider the type of fusion this is. A fusion between father and son. It probably even gets a boost from that too. The rest of the group looks on in awe. It actually worked. And now the fusion thinks, what should his name be? Barlot, Bardock, and Kakarot. It's what they call him in Dragon Ball Fusion, so that's what we'll go with here. Sin tries attacking him, and then Barlot activates Ultra Instinct. The aura surrounds him and he completely disappears. This power is incredible. Even this dragon can't match him now. What the hell? And he looks around. At the exact same time, he sees the negative energy around Earth. It's disappearing. It must be that Supreme Kai Namekian guy. I didn't even realize that kind of rhymes, Supreme Kai Namekian guy. But he can't get distracted by that. He's getting attacked by this guy and can't hit him at all. Whenever he hits Sin Shenron, he teleports around somewhere else. Sin can't predict his attacks, and even if he does try and hit Barlot, he just dodges with Ultra Instinct. But as Barlot's attacking, he charges an attack in his other hand. He's gonna make this as quick as possible, and he's preparing. He teleports in front of Sin, and Sin tries launching an attack at him. Barlot simply flips over it, and then Sin looks above him. He sees in one of Barlot's hands, he has a massive beam charged. Barlot chuckles a bit. This is fun. He places his hand in front of him, launching the massive one-handed blast down, completely eviscerating the dragon. This is all the energy he's coalesced through his power, as well as energy he's gathered from others. He'll call it the Ultimate Spirit Cannon. A combination of Bardock's final Spirit Cannon with some of Goku's Spirit Bomb in there. Sin Shenron is completely decimated, and not long after, the fusion lands on the ground, then diffusing. Damn. It's good that they finished it quickly, but they kind of expected this. I mean, they were using so much power with Ultra Instinct and all. Bardock smiles, and then immediately falls to the ground. He's glad he was able to have one last fight, but even though he was fused, it still drained a lot of energy out of him. And since he exerted himself that much, that's just gonna worsen his current condition. He commends everyone, especially his kids and all his grandkids who are there too. He says he's proud of them, and he's glad he got to fight alongside them one last time. But his age, it's finally catching up to him. And that fight was the nail in the coffin. Slowly his ki begins disappearing. The group tries to help and heal him, but Piccolo says it's too late. And he's kind of amazed to see that too. Bardock knew what he was getting into. He knew before they fused that this would probably kill him. But he just wanted one last fight, especially with his kids. There's nothing they can do now. They watch as Bardock dies, passing on into Otherworld. We skip forward for a brief amount of time. In Otherworld, Bardock has arrived, and he looks at himself. He's young again. Well, he is dead after all, so he's not surprised, but he's glad that he kept his body. This is great. He could train up here even more. I mean, he's not even going to be able to do anything on Earth, but still, he could watch from up here, train more, get stronger. He knows that the next generation will be safe. Not just that one, but the one after that too. He can see their performance from up here, and he's glad. He feels that he lives a fulfilling life, and he knew this time would come eventually. He has faith in the rest of the people that he left behind, and he's happy that his life turned out the way it did. He lived a full life. It wasn't cut short by Frieza, and he was able to finally reunite with his family. And he changed, even becoming like an Earthling, which is strange. And soon enough, up in Otherworld, he sees a familiar face. Not too long after his death, another person appears there. Bardock hears someone call his name. He turns around, and he sees Guine. And this is where we'll end off this series. So, what did you guys think about this part? What did you guys think about the series as a whole? This isn't just the conclusion to the GT part, this is the conclusion to the entire series now. It's strange, it's the first time I've done a GT scenario, so this is actually the end. So let me know what you guys thought. I might try more of these in the future, but let me know what you thought of this one. As always, if you liked the video, be sure to drop a like. It really helps with the channel and it shows me that you want to see more videos like this. Also, if you haven't already, why not subscribe? As well as hitting the bell icon so you don't know about any future uploads to my channel, including more what-ifs or any videos like this one. Anyways, thank you all for watching, thanks for supporting this scenario, and I'll see you all in my next video.